Good evening and welcome to the Walt Whitman Show. Welcome to my kitchen in Ireland. It's Paul O'Mani. Welcome Nerpsy, welcome Ragamuffa, welcome KM, welcome Sandra, welcome Ashleen. I missed a couple of people. Welcome Goliath, hello. Cream Sauce, hello. Don't think we've met before. You're very... Basbla, hello, welcome. Mecca 2011. Ari Grandma for Emily, hello, good evening. Anthony Fogg, hello. Thank you very much, especially to those of you who are coming for the very first time. Those of you who are coming for the very first time are especially welcome. This is a photo of Walt Whitman. Sarah, sorry I missed that, Office 2H, Office, hello. Definitely some people here have never been here before, and I'd love you to sort of say I'm new or something like that. Write the word new. And SM, the Bird's Eye Band. And Stephanie, hello Stephanie. Renard, hello. This is the Walt Whitman Show. I am Paul O'Mani. I'm in my kitchen. Basbla is old, right? Probably feeling very old. Looks like Dumbledore, a very good point. Welly Booty, this is an ancient old poet before he... Hello Mark, Many people are new here. I don't think we've met before. Susan has invited people, thank you very much. I'm Paul O'Mani. Amy Stark, hello. Homiak, hello. Wow, in a language I don't know at all. Serdar, please. Lots of... I don't like the word newbies, to be truthful, to be honest. I'm not sure why. I think I must feel intuitively that there's a better word. But the new people are especially valuable because they revitalize the old people, really. You know, it's lovely. Jenny, that's a great idea. Say your name. That's it. I look like Roger Daltrey from The Who. Wow, you were just writing about me on your blog. Well, I'm honoured and thrilled, and, you know, hurry up and finish that blog and send it to me. Jupicon, hello. Wingnut is a star, you know that, I tell you that. She's inviting her followers, she's inviting the people she's connected with. Megan from Massachusetts. Boob Fashionista is a star from London. An Irish woman, scoping from London. Really, really well worth saying hello to. Just getting to know her. She does a lot of interesting things, you know. I won't spoil her pitch, but basically, I need new glasses. You have to read with, oh, look, you know, I got a bloody problem. Do you know, I'll tell you the truth. Jackie from, see, Wingnut isn't just Wingnut. She's Jackie from California, and she has the Atlantic. She lives in Southern California, but she's got the Atlantic in her back garden. Sorry, the Pacific in her back garden. Look, you're all very welcome. This is the show on... Oh, sorry, that's my kitchen. Here's the show on which I start off by reading you some of the poetry of Walt Whitman. I'm a poet myself, and I have done something mad, which is to say that I'm going to read all of this stuff. I'm going to read all of this stuff on Periscope. Oh, damn, the connections are bad. Vera from Germany is terribly welcome. Germany is even 1 hour later than here, so it's about 5 to midnight in Germany. So, look, since there are people here who have never been before, I'd like to crack on with reading you some of Walt Whitman's poetry. Really would like to read you some of Walt Whitman's poetry. A very good question. I contact with Miss Quick for much too long. And, you know, I get a bit concerned and I think, where is Miss Quick from Rodez in France gone to? Yeah. The thing about Periscope, you know, you get to know people and develop an attachment and get lots of friendly feelings towards them. And then you get, well, I'm just speaking for myself. Sharia, hello. Hello, good evening. Now, just to tell the people who aren't familiar with this particular Periscope, Walt Whitman wrote a book called Leaves of Grass and published it in 1855. In 1855, he was about 35, I think. He was born in 1819, and he lived until 1892. But he published a slim volume, which is, you know, wasn't very well known by anybody when it was first published. And gradually throughout his life, he added to it, and he ends up with a book that's this thick. This is the what's known as the deathbed edition, you know, the last one before he died. So in it, the very first poem, really, of any, is a poem called Song of Myself, in which the poet is really announcing himself to the world. Welcome, yes, the ninth edition, the deathbed edition. Moonsinger 13 has just arrived, and that's Christine, and she is a lovely poet, a lovely, lovely poet. Does great shows in which, on Periscope, so those of you who are interested particularly in Shakespeare, she performs. She's an actress, she's a trained actor, and you can tell, you know, she's not like me. I'm a kind of bumbling guy who, no, I won't put myself down, but she's actually knows what she's doing. And so she will recite from memory all of the Shakespeare sonnets, and will read other pieces of Shakespeare. And actually she writes poetry to me in the style of Shakespeare's sonnets, but that's another story. Okay, look, cracking on with Whitman. I'm going to read you part 46, I think, of a 52-part poem. You read and recite Robert Frost. Hey, listen to this, guys. Meg Fedge, who said her name a minute ago, recites Robert Frost. Hey, I haven't tuned into that. I have to make a note, excuse me. I have to make a note here beside me that this is... Okay, I've got you down for Robert Frost. I got you down for Robert Frost, and that's fantastic, because Robert Frost was influenced by Walt Whitman. There's no doubt about that. Wow. You've done it in coffee shops. Wingnut decided not Yeats, but Charles Bukowski. That's another story, the Charles Bukowski story. Susan Sailboat's cousin is Robert Frost? Frostiana. Okay, look guys, I could easily get hooked onto Robert Frost and then I wouldn't do anything else. But I'm going to at least start. I'm completely distracted. I'm totally distracted. Robert Frost is a phenomenal poet, and I don't know what to say. I came on to sort of read Walt Whitman, and I've been blown out of the water. Now we're on to Robert Frost and Charles Bukowski, and frankly, I need a glass of wine. I mean, this is just, all too much for me. The thing about this, dear new people who have come here, is that there are people here and you just don't know who's going to come here. You just don't know. As far as I know, I would not be surprised anymore. Okay, I need to take a deep breath and I really need to get myself in order, Susan. Meg Veg, cheers. I meant to, okay, here we go. This is Walt Whitman. Part 46 of a 52-part poem. Very, very long. Thousands of lines. The man from Denmark will come. Meg and Veg rhyme. Ah, got it. Meg and Veg. Okay, now, would you all please settle down? I'm going to read you some Walt Whitman. And my style, by the way, or my approach is to read a piece of poetry at least twice. I think it takes time for it to sink in, and I don't think you should have to be under pressure to catch everything on the first hearing. So I am going to read it twice. So here we go. Part 46 of Song of Myself by Walt Whitman. I know I have the best of time and space, and was never measured, and never will be measured. I tramp a perpetual journey. Come, listen, all. My signs are a rainproof coat, good shoes, and a staff cut from the woods. No friend of mine takes his ease in my chair. I have no chair, no church, no philosophy. I lead no man to a dinner table, library, exchange. But each man and each woman of you I lead upon a knoll, my left hand hooking you round the waist, my right hand pointing to landscapes of continents and the public road. Not I, nor anyone else can travel that road for you. You must travel it for yourself. It is not far, it is within reach. Perhaps you have been on it since you were born and did not know. Perhaps it is everywhere on water and on land. Shoulder your duds, dear son, and I will mine, and let us hasten forth, wonderful cities and free nations we shall fetch as we go. If you tire, give me your burdens, and rest the chuff of your hand on my hip, and in due time you shall repay the same service to me. For after we start, we shall never lie by again. This day, before dawn, I ascended a hill and looked at the crowded heaven. And I said to my spirit, when we become the enfolders of those orbs and the pleasure and knowledge of everything in them, shall we be fulfilled and satisfied then? And my spirit said, no. We but level that lift to pass and continue beyond. You are also asking me questions, and I hear you. I answer that I cannot answer. You must find out for yourself. Sit a while, dear son. Here are biscuits to eat, and here is milk to drink. But as soon as you sleep and renew yourself in sweet clothes, I kiss you with a goodbye kiss and open the gate for your egress hence. Long enough have you dreamed contemptible dreams. Now I wash the gum from your eyes. You must habit yourself to the dazzle of the light and of every moment of your life. Long have you timidly waded, holding a plank by the shore. Now I will you to be a bold swimmer, to jump off in the midst of the sea. Rise again, nod to me, shout and laughingly dash with your hair. That is part 46 of Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. I'm with you, Basbla. I'm with you, Jenny. I'm with you 100% on that. I love the part where he talks about relying on each other. There's a lot going on in this part. Indeed, there is. I was thinking if I had a message I wanted to give to a child of mine setting out into the world, I could find a lot worse messages than just to give this particular piece to them, to take with them. Ties to the one before. Yeah. Yeah, it certainly does. But then, you know, you liked the question part. You were also asking me questions, and I hear you. I answer that I cannot answer. You must find out for yourself. Each part, though, is a gem. That would be a perfect gift for anyone stepping off on a new journey. Yes, we're thinking the same thing there. Yeah. The first part seems like a riddle. I know I have the best of time and space, and was never measured and never will be measured. I tramp a perpetual journey. I will, of course, read it again. I will, of course. Are you ready to go on a journey then? Meg Vega, are you ready to go on your journey? Is that what you're saying, really? You're saying now that you've heard it, you're ready to tramp the roads and set out into the unknown. Find your own path, find your own way. Perpetual journey. I tramp a perpetual journey. Well, you see now. Now, who doubted me when I said that there were some connections between Walt Whitman and Robert Frost? Now, look, to be honest, Whitman has influenced everybody. Everybody who is kind of, well, I can't say everybody, of course. There are loads of poets who never heard of him, never opened a book by Whitman. Loads of people can write poetry without reading Walt Whitman. But if you take the really big link, you have to put Whitman at the kind of center of the future of American poetry. Right up to, oh, hang on, I better shut up. You think I knew a lot about it. But, you know, the little bits I know, it feels very easy to say that Whitman is, the spirit of Whitman is all over the place. Okay, I'm going to read it again. Sometime soon I will bring you all via Periscope to Walden Pond and read you all thorough. Oh, yes, do. I'd love somebody to read Emerson. Okay, he's the father of our art. Oh yeah, what a great thing that would be. Yes, father of our poetry, yeah. Okay, let me read it again. Let me read it again. Well, I feel it's a kind of there's a real serious role in life for homage and for honouring those, in whose footsteps I walk. And each one of us walk in the footsteps of different people and different combinations of family and other influences. We don't all walk in the footsteps of all the same people, thank goodness, But, so I don't know, an interesting question. In whose footsteps do I walk? In whose footsteps do you walk? What are the particular, which particular footsteps? Okay, look, back to Walt Whitman, part 46, reading it for the second time. Oh, Mark, yeah. I'm the one who walks on the road that's less travelled by. Not just men or Caucasians or wealthy. Okay, I'm going to focus on reading you the piece by Walt Whitman again. I know I have the best of time and space, and was never measured and never will be measured. I tramp a perpetual journey. Come, listen, all. My signs are a rainproof coat, good shoes, and a staff cut from the woods. No friend of mine takes his ease in my chair. I have no chair, no church, no philosophy. I lead no man to a dinner table, library, exchange, but each man and woman of you I lead upon a knoll, my left hand hooking you round the waist, my right hand pointing to landscapes of continents and the public road. Not I, not anyone else can travel that road for you. You must travel it for yourself. It is not far. It is within reach. Perhaps you have been on it since you were born and did not know. Perhaps it is everywhere on water and on land. Shoulder your duds, dear son, and I will mine. Let us hasten forth. Wonderful cities and free nations we shall fetch as we go. If you tire, give me both burdens, and rest the chuff of your hand on my hip. And in due time you shall repay the same service to me. For after we start, we never lie by it again. We never lie by again. This day before dawn I ascended a hill and looked at the crowded heaven. And I said to my spirit, when we become the unfolders of those orbs, and the pleasure and knowledge of everything in them, shall we be filled and satisfied then? And my spirit said, no. We but level that lift to pass and continue beyond. You are also asking me questions, and I hear you. I answer that I cannot answer. You must find out for yourself. Sit a while, son. Here are biscuits to eat, and here is milk to drink. But as soon as you sleep and renew yourself in sweet clothes, I kiss you with a goodbye kiss and open the gate for your egress hence. Long enough have you dreamt contemptible dreams. Now I wash the gum from your eyes. You must habit yourself to the dazzle of the light and of every moment of your life. Long have you timidly waded, hold your plank by the shore. Now I will you to be a bold swimmer, to jump off in the midst of the sea, rise again, nod to me, shout and laughingly dash with your hair. I just love it. I just love, love, love it. Now I will you to be a bold swimmer. I mean, okay, it suits me. As I was reading it, I was falling more and more in love with it. I don't know, what's it doing? What does it do for you? We get a red heart from Milan, a sweet red heart from Milan, from a man who loves jazz, from a man who just lives down the road from one of the greatest opera houses in the world. Spillone, good evening, my friend. Good evening, David Atchison, Party World in Waterford, southeast of Ireland. Yeah. There are more hearts than words going on here. Now maybe there's a problem with connectivity, but I have to say that there are parts in this that are just huge, huge joy to me. To be at a loss for words. It's ever so easy for me. I have it in front of me written down. I can speak it and read it at the same time. So I sort of have it coming at me from two angles. I'm voicing it. And also, I'm reading it. So, and then I can sit here and look at the book, So it does kind of make it easy for me. It says that we are surrounded by loved ones. David, you feel it's the best so far? Yeah. I feel that right now myself. I like that it talks of the mysterious journey of life on our journey too. Have you interpretation rap music as being poetry? Oh, people, rap is poetry. It doesn't bother me what label you put on it. I wonder if he's imagining conversation with his own father. Yeah. But yeah, to go back to this thing though, I don't think the key thing is whether, it's poetry or not poetry. The key thing is, how does it affect you? How does it seep into your imagination? How does it catch your feelings? How does it excite your intellect? To me, that's what matters, not whether it is or isn't poetry. If it, does all of those things, ticks all of those boxes, then I'll simply call it art, Jackie, we're encouraged to be courageous and whatever it is. Because no one can know, even if the presence of the journey is common to the everyone. We all say we're on a journey. You like the words of Bob Dylan. Well, I bet you're not the only person here who likes the words of Bob Dylan. I love the words of Bob Dylan, although I stopped listening to Bob Dylan a long time ago, not for any good reason, but I was brought up on Bob Dylan. So it's the early Dylan that, I remain kind of true to, if you like. That's not to say that I have any negative feelings towards the later Bob Dylan. No journey is the same, exactly. So no one should judge the other one's journey in life. Judging is the least, I think, the least interesting of human skills. I find judging boring, to be truthful, but that's another story. You're recently fond of the lyrics of Jason Isbell. All right. Jason Isbell. The later was also difficult for you, Kathy, yeah? Well, you know, I have to say I love what I was brought up on, so I wouldn't want to enter into a kind of trying to advocate for one. Can I hear a poem? I've never really heard a proper poem. Can I hear a poem? I'm not totally sure what you mean. I think judgments show more about the judger than the judgee. You can hear one of my poems. Meg Veg, for some weird reason, I've resisted always on the Walt Whitman show reading any of my own work, but I just kind of feel like not resisting anymore tonight, you know. So yeah, I read a bit of my own in it. Your husband is cooking a lovely dinner so I can sit and listen to you. What a husband! That's all I can say. What a husband. That's what husbands are for, really. To make you lovely meals while you listen to poetry. I think that should be the contract. People do all sorts of things when they get married, but there really ought to be a contract that says, you know, you will make wonderful meals for me while I listen to poetry. That's, you know, and in return, you know, I will read the piece again before the end of the show, but I don't know, in a moment of weakness. Yes, Brian, I'm sorry if you, you know, you have wine and poetry. I have wine and poetry. I have been known to have water. In fact, excuse me, here's one I made earlier. I have to tell you, I cook a bit myself, but we won't go down that road. Okay, I'm going to read you a little poem I wrote myself. Well, it's in draft, right? It's early stage poem. It's in such an early stage it hasn't yet been typed, right? It hasn't yet been typed. So it's in a notebook. And it looks like this. This is the workings of the poem. I say this because I'm always a bit fascinated by how writers write, you know. So oh my goodness, I'm completely perplexed. I have had people tell me they like my accent, but the way I write, I always think is kind of almost very tricky to read. Oh, right. Oh, well, there we are. Anyway, legibility is hardly an issue, is it really? I mean, think about all the stuff that was written in a way that nobody could read it. You write on small pocket-sized notepads, right? Not anything this size by any chance. Small pocket-sized notepads. If it's good, I can read it later. Oh yeah, it's there have been books written about, you know, how thank the Phoenicians for the ability to write and have it understood. Now we're talking about the Phoenicians. Paul has quite a refined accent. Right. Not, oh look, I've worked on, okay, I give up. I'm going to read a poem. Where do I sound like? Oh yeah, Brian, you can answer this. You're in Liverpool. Oh, great stuff. Ah, look here, think of everything all the good that's come from Liverpool. Fantastic Liverpool. Okay, here I go, guys. I'm going to read you a poem which is in draft, and I have read it on Periscope before. The name of the poem is You Don't Have to Like Oysters. You don't have to like oysters. So this is You Don't Have to Like Oysters by Paul O'Mani. You don't have to like oysters. There's nothing wrong with you if caviar and truffles turn you off. Though some will look down their nose at you if you decline champagne, it's not a sin to spend your life without a diamond ring or stud. As for grand opera, Wimbledon, Ascot, and the Royal Tea Party, you're not alone in preferring to dunk ginger nut biscuits in Earl Grey tea and nibble soldiers with soft-boiled eggs for breakfast. I met one honest man who ate puffer fish before his wife, with their Johnny in mind. He founded a not-for-profit that cared for orphans in Somalia or earthquake victims in Kathmandu. There are macrobiotic vegans who are bungee jumpers, and others devoted to saving earthworms from global warming before the bees run out. You don't even have to be like any of them if you want your tombstone to be admired. Your legacy may not even be on your agenda. And who cares if no one remembers your greatest achievement? No one teaches children to stand out from the crowd, to plant their own standard, and translate their imaginations into private language, the kind you can use for talking to yourself. Few parents instruct their offspring to ignore advice from elders and betters, which may be why I've yet to see a mother feeding oysters to her darling, and a father making sandwiches with earthworms or dried wasps. You don't have to have a religion or vote for a political party. You don't have to love your teachers or thank them for their work. You don't have to drive a car or send Christmas cards to say you're still alive. You don't have to eat too much or donate yourself to a worthy cause. Really? Honestly, it's not even compulsory to reread this poem. That's it. That never rhymed but was still okay. You rather like oysters, your brother never. Very enjoyable. No, thank you, no earthworms. Earthworm sandwiches for you. I love myself some oysters. The name of the poem is You Don't Have to Like Oysters. It's quite nice inside the clink. I have to thank lovely Previn for part of that poem. Mum said it was just fine to be just me. I love the part saying I don't have to send Christmas cards. I think you have read that once before. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I thought poems rhymed that meant you can write whatever you like. I don't have to go out of my way to send other people things to remind them I'm alive, yes. Was the Earl Grey for you? Truthfully, no, but it can be. It can be. It can be. It comes, the Earl Grey comes, and the dunking ginger nuts. The worms are definitely for you. Definitely for you. I've never heard of Neil Gaiman. I like the bit with Johnny because it's a condom, right? Well, there's a phrase in Ireland which is my little Johnny, you know, my Johnny. It's a way of referring to your child. He's a fantastic author. I suggest you look into his work. Right. I'd be very grateful if you send me a tweet mentioning his name, and I will follow up, or somebody will, because well, I suppose I could write it down, not be lazy. Be much. I'm ever so glad when somebody sends me a tweet with the name of somebody who I've never heard of. Neil Gaiman. Gaiman. Okay. Neil Gaiman recommended by, oh right, so several of you. Is this Neil Gaiman's Twitter feed is so okay. You like my shirt? I'm going to be just like you. Got to get back to the blog post. Oh, please do. Please do. Well, I've obviously stumbled into the Neil Gaiman fan club. Good luck. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Jackie. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Wingnut. Autumn McGee, hello. He's from Edinburgh. Oh, right. Gets more and more interesting. My favourite poem, that's a really lovely question. Well, if I had to pick a single poem, I mean, there'd be many competitors, but I really might go for, wow, he's married to an artist. I might go for Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. That's very difficult, very difficult. Good night, Brian, or cheerio, Brian. Bye-bye. A very difficult question to pick one single poem. But, of course, that's why you ask the question, because it isn't an easy one to answer. I think of all sorts of competing goosey gander. Whither shall I wander? Yes, till tomorrow, Mark. Thank you very much for coming here. Thank you ever so much for coming. This is a South African red, by the way. It's a South African Shiraz, in case anyone could be the least bit interested. We don't make any wine in Ireland. Unlike England, where many, many fine wines are made these days. Grandma for Emily, thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much. Yeah, we do make whiskey, we do. Can you drink from the Whitman egg cup over the pages, perhaps? Of course I could do that. You want me to actually deliberately pour wine out of an egg cup onto a poetry book? Can I just make sure that the listeners understand? Do I like to travel England? England is a wonderful country. I just absolutely love the UK. I lived there for 30 years. I love the UK. No doubt about it, I just love the place. I could, yes, 30 years. Yes, I have been to the United States, yes. My most recent visit, not often to be truthful, but my most recent visit was last year to Chicago. And Chicago is my #1 favorite city in the whole of North America. You can't wait to visit again? You mean to visit the UK again? Christine, I'd love to introduce you to a really good friend of mine who's somebody who used to be a very close friend of mine. Right, she's director of the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust. You see, Chicago's near everybody. Chicago's fantastic. I loved Chicago. I was there and I loved it. But there's just so much to visit in the United States. There's just so much. Slandy is here. Stefano. My good... Oh, look, in 1 second, look who's arrived. Slandy has arrived and Orion has arrived. Stefano Landi, great podcasting friend of mine from Canada. Orion is a real beauty from London, periscoping from London, UK. A lovely, lovely man, Orion has arrived, sounds like a poem title, yes. Hi darling, have several scopes today, check out replays. Oh, was that an advert? Sorry, I wasn't sure. If that... I'd love to know more what you scoped about. What's this? I'd love to meet her. Oh, look, I can introduce you to her very easily. Yeah, no problem. Orion is lovely. But Stefano, I was listening to your podcast only, shortly before coming, as they say, what would they say, coming on air. And delightful picture you sketch of what kind of a periscope you would do. Can you send me a poem? Of course you can, Anthony. Absolutely you can. One of the greatest delights I've had with reading poetry and talking about poetry and even writing poetry on Periscope is a man from Denmark who Susan, did you ask me to? I've read your poem. Yes, yes. Oh, look. Back to the thing is that a man called Lars from Denmark wrote the first poem he's ever written in his life as a result of being with us here on Periscope. And the whole idea that one person or two or three might actually compose a poem for the first time. I mean, that is just, can you make money? You can get very, very rich as a poet. Poetry can make you the richest person of all your friends and relations. Yeah, poetry really can make you very rich. No problem at all. You're going to Twitter to send you Neil Gaiman's Twitter. Thank you very much. You'll come tomorrow night. Lovely. Yes, Lars the poet. Up until Lars writing. Thank you, Megveg. Thank you. Poetry definitely makes you rich. Why was your poem about oysters? The poem was about oysters because, one, I don't like oysters myself, and lots of other people like oysters. And oysters have got very high status in the world in relation to food, They're meant to be, they are highly enjoyed by people. So people who eat oysters are eating some of the good things in life. On top of that, I had just come from sitting with family while the rest of them eat oysters. And as Christine says, oysters have lots of meaning. They're stratification within oysters. There are layers and layers and layers of associations. But for me, a poem needs to work at two levels to become a really good poem. It has to work at the concrete level, real oysters in real shells in real places. It has to work at that level. And whatever you're going to say about oysters in terms of whatever way, it has to work at the very concrete, what you'd call most basic level. But there has to be the potential, at least, for oyster to be a metaphor for a lot more, so that the meaning there can be a deeper or even a more exalted meaning. Otherwise, the poem stays on the ground and doesn't lift into the imagination very much. So if you were to think about the first line of Wordsworth's poem, I wandered lonely as a cloud. And, that has to work at the level I wandered lonely as a cloud. A cloud has to have... well, I do really. I do, Autumn. I have an epic poem. I have an epic poem, meaning that it's a very long poem, called Irish Epic Poem in 33 cantos. It's available to buy in the Kindle store. All the printed copies are gone, but it's in the Kindle store. A piece of sand irritates the oyster and forms a pearl. Problems are pearls, absolutely. And if you go to Kindle and look up Irish epic poem in 33 cantos, you'll be able to read some of it for free, and you can decide if you'd like to buy it. That's the only... all of my other work is out of print now. It's 142 pages long, just to tell you how long it is. It's some of the greatest, most beautiful art is born of conflicts. Absolutely, and oh, thank goodness, we need more poetry gods. We do. We definitely need more poetry gods and goddesses and czars and kings and queens. And Kathy, you're finishing up cooking dinner. Oh, thanks a million for coming. Yes. Oh, yes. I think we'll wrap up in a minute, guys. I think we'll bring this evening's... I'm going to read the piece of poetry one last time, if there are people here who would like me to read it, who have missed it so far. So if there's anybody here who would like to hear Walt Whitman again, do I have a short, happy poem? Anthony, we'll need to use another show for that. I have a very, very large collection of poetry. So do I have happy poems? I do have happy poems, yes. Over the years I've written lots of poems. Hiya, Simon, hiya. And am I famous? I am a complete, utter unknown. Totally unknown. My mother has forgotten what I'm like. I could say I'm the only person, I'm my Periscope family, yeah. I'm trying very hard to be famous to myself. That's my biggest challenge. How can I be famous to myself? Sometimes it's hard to even remember myself, but that's another story. All poets have a deep, dark side in the deep, dark wood. Oh, bless them. They're mainly misguided. But, we're all misguided. Life is a journey of the misguided. Yes. Would you like me to read again the piece of Walt Whitman, just as a way of, if you like, finishing off this evening's show? No, I think that's untrue. Alicia, I think you are perfect. In my view, you are perfect. Alicia, lovely Previn is perfect. I wouldn't change one scintilla. Not one scintilla, not one fragment. Yeah? Perfect. I wouldn't change you. Absolutely. Why would I change you? You give me such joy in my life. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read Walt Whitman to you. Well deserved. Here we go. I know I have the best of time and space, and was never measured and never will be measured. I tramp a perpetual journey. Come, listen, all. My signs are a rainproof coat, good shoes, and a staff cut from the woods. No friend of mine takes his ease in my chair. I have no chair, no church, no philosophy. I lead no man to a dinner table, library, exchange, but each man and each woman of you I lead upon a knoll, my left hand hooking you round the waist, my right hand pointing to landscapes of continents and the public road. Not I, not anyone else can travel that road for you. You must travel it for yourself. It is not far, it is within reach. Perhaps you've been on it since you were born and did not know. Perhaps it is everywhere on water and on land. Shoulder your duds, dear son, and I will mine. And let us hasten forth. Wonderful cities and free nations we shall fetch as we go. If you tire, give me both burdens, and rest the chuff of your hand on my hip, and in due time you shall repay the same service to me. For after we start, we shall never lie by again. This day, before dawn, I ascended a hill and looked at the crowded heaven, and I said to my spirit, when we become the enfolders of those orbs, and the pleasure and knowledge of everything in them, shall we be filled and satisfied then? And my spirit said, no. We but level that lift to pass and continue beyond. You are also asking me questions, and I hear you. I answer that I cannot answer. You must find out for yourself. Sit a while, son. Here are biscuits to eat, and here is milk to drink. But as soon as you sleep and renew yourself in sweet clothes, I kiss you with a goodbye kiss, and open the gate for your egress hence. Long enough have you dreamed, contemptible dreams. Now I wash the gum from your eyes. You must habit yourself to the dazzle of the light and of every moment of your life. Long have you timidly waded, holding a plank by the shore. Now I will you to be a bold swimmer, to jump off in the midst of the sea. Rise again, nod to me, shout and laughingly dash with your hair. And that's it. And laughingly dash with your hair. So that's Walt Whitman in a passage of poetry which is definitely, if you tire, give me both burdens. Yeah. Isn't that just... Yeah. You know, well, I want to say thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a presence in my life. Thank you for enjoying what we're doing so much, and for coming for the first time. Thank you very much. For watching on the web, not being able to comment. Thank you very much. For tuning into the replay, watching the replay. I don't get the bit where he holds hips and points at the landscape. Yeah, well, if you get all the other bits and don't get that bit, if that bit doesn't mean anything to you, you see, it's not an intellectual exercise, I think. It's just something speak to you. And, you know, you wake up tomorrow and it'll, Iawa, Alicia, Iawa. Iawa to all of you, that's a way of saying good night. It means Ia is night and Wa is good, so Iawa is good night. Anthony, you are going to be a god, I heard you say earlier. And I tell you what, pointing out bits of life that someone might not have learned to notice yet. Stefano, you lovely man. Thanks a million for coming. Bye-bye, everybody. Good night to you all. Until the next time, which will be tomorrow. Bye-bye, hopefully.